Ladies and gentlemen, today, I want to talk about something we often ignore, something we push aside, thinking it's not as important as our physical health. But let me tell you this: mental health is not a luxury, it's a necessity. It is the foundation of our strength, our dreams, and our ability to rise after every fall. Life is unpredictable. Sometimes it knocks us down so hard that we feel broken beyond repair. We go through losses, failures, rejections, things that make us feel as if we are not enough. But let me remind you today, you are enough. You are more than your struggles, more than your darkest days. There was a time when I, too, thought I had lost everything. I questioned my worth, my existence. I felt trapped in a mind that kept reminding me of my weaknesses. But then I realized something. Our minds can be our greatest enemy or our strongest ally. It all depends on how we train it. So, how do we deal with our mental health? First, accept that it's okay to not be okay. We don't have to pretend to be strong all the time. It takes real courage to admit that we need help, to acknowledge that we are struggling. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. Second, change the way you talk to yourself. Our mind believes what we repeatedly tell it. If we keep saying, "I am not good enough, I am a failure, no one cares," then our mind will accept it as truth. Instead, tell yourself, "I am strong, I am capable, I matter," because you do. Third, surround yourself with the right people. Not everyone who smiles at you wants to see you happy. Protect your energy. Stay close to those who uplift you, who remind you of your worth, who stand by you even when you feel lost. Fourth, find purpose in your pain. Whatever you are going through right now is shaping you into a stronger version of yourself. Use your experiences to inspire others, to be a light for someone else who might be struggling. And lastly, never stop believing in yourself. The road to healing is not always easy, but every step forward counts. Even if all you do today is wake up and breathe, that is enough. Keep going. Keep fighting. Because your story is not over yet. Remember, healing is not a destination, it is a journey. And on this journey, you are never alone. Keep your heart open, your mind strong, and your spirit unbreakable. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of peace. And you are worthy of happiness. Mental health is something we often neglect, something we push aside while focusing on everything else in life. We tend to believe that as long as we are physically fine, we can keep going. But what we fail to realize is that our mental well-being is the foundation of everything we do. If our mind is not at peace, nothing in life feels right. Our dreams, our relationships, and even our everyday tasks become exhausting. We can be surrounded by people and yet feel completely alone. We can have success and yet feel empty inside. That is why it is important to talk about mental health, to understand it, accept it, and deal with it in a way that allows us to live a fulfilled life. The first step in dealing with mental health is to accept that it's okay to not be okay. We live in a world where we are expected to be strong all the time. We are told to hide our struggles, to pretend everything is fine, to keep moving forward no matter how broken we feel inside. But real strength is not in pretending to be okay. Real strength is in admitting when you are struggling. It is in seeking help when you need it. There is nothing weak about feeling lost, about feeling anxious, or about feeling depressed. These are human emotions, just like happiness, excitement, or love. The more we suppress our pain, the heavier it becomes. But the moment we allow ourselves to acknowledge our struggles, we take the first step towards healing. The way we talk to ourselves has a profound impact on our mental health. Our mind listens to every word we say, and over time it begins to believe it. If we keep telling ourselves that we are not good enough, that we are a failure, that we will never be happy, then our mind accepts these words as truth. But if we start speaking to ourselves with kindness, with love, and with encouragement, our mind begins to change. Instead of saying, "I am not good enough," start saying, "I am doing my best, and that is enough." Instead of saying, "No one cares about me," remind yourself, "I am worthy of love and respect." The words we use for ourselves shape our reality, so we must be mindful of them. The people we surround ourselves with also play a huge role in our mental well-being. There are people who drain our energy, who make us feel small, who bring negativity into our lives. And then there are those who uplift us, who make us feel heard and valued. it is important to choose the right people. Surround yourself with those who support you, who remind you of your worth, who make you feel safe. If you are constantly in an environment where you feel judged, misunderstood, or unappreciated, it will only add to your struggles. You deserve to be around people who bring out the best in you, who celebrate your small victories, and who stand by you even in your darkest times. Pain is an inevitable part of life, but what we do with that pain makes all the difference. Some experiences leave scars on our hearts, making us feel broken beyond repair. But those same scars can also become symbols of strength. Instead of letting pain consume us, we can turn it into a force for good. Every hardship we go through teaches us something. It teaches us resilience, it teaches us empathy, and it teaches us the value of kindness. Sometimes, our struggles prepare us to help someone else who is going through the same thing. So instead of letting pain define us, we can use it to inspire others, to show them that healing is possible, that they are not alone. Healing takes time. There will be days when we feel like we are making progress, and then there will be days when we feel like we are back to square one. But the important thing is to keep going. Even if all we do in a day is wake up and breathe, that is still progress. No matter how difficult things get, we must never stop believing in ourselves. Our story is not over yet. And as long as we hold on, as long as we keep taking small steps forward, we will find our way to peace and happiness. The way we talk to ourselves has a profound impact on our mental health. Our mind listens to everything we say, and over time, it starts believing it. If we constantly tell ourselves that we are not good enough, that we are a failure, that nothing will ever change, then our mind will accept these words as truth. But if we begin to speak with kindness, encouragement, and belief in our own potential, our perspective starts shifting. Instead of saying, "I am not capable," we should remind ourselves, "I am learning and I am improving every day." Instead of saying, "I will never be happy," we need to tell ourselves, "I am on a journey, and happiness is still possible for me." Our inner dialogue shapes our reality, and if we want to build a healthier mind, we must be mindful of how we speak to ourselves. No one in the world talks to us more than we talk to ourselves. That conversation must be empowering, compassionate, and hopeful. Self-doubt is a battle many of us fight daily. We question our worth, our abilities, and our purpose. Society often tells us that we must achieve certain things to be valued, that we must be successful, popular, or financially stable to be considered worthy. But the truth is, our worth is not tied to our achievements. We are valuable simply because we exist. We do not have to prove anything to anyone. If we tie our self-worth to external validation, we will always be chasing an illusion. The real challenge is to accept ourselves even in our lowest moments. It is to look in the mirror and say, "I am enough," even when we feel broken. Because self-love does not come from perfection. It comes from embracing our imperfections and still choosing to be kind to ourselves. The people we allow into our lives influence our thoughts, emotions, and self-esteem. Some people drain us, making us feel small and unimportant. Others uplift us, reminding us of our worth and potential. It is crucial to be mindful of the company we keep. If we constantly surround ourselves with negativity, criticism, and toxic energy, our mental health will suffer. But if we choose to be around those who support us, who encourage us, who remind us of our strength, then healing becomes easier. There is no shame in walking away from relationships that no longer serve us. We have the right to protect our peace, to create boundaries, and to choose environments that nourish our well-being. The right people will never make us feel unworthy or inadequate. They will remind us that we matter, even when we forget it ourselves. Pain is an unavoidable part of life. It comes in different forms: loss, failure, heartbreak, rejection. Sometimes it feels unbearable, like a weight too heavy to carry. But pain is also a teacher. It shows us our strength, it deepens our understanding of life, and it connects us with others who have walked similar paths. Instead of seeing pain as something that destroys us, we can choose to see it as something that transforms us. Every challenge we face builds resilience within us. Every struggle we endure teaches us a lesson. And sometimes the very things that break us become the reason we rise stronger than before. We must not let our pain define us. Instead, We should use it as a force to grow, to inspire, and to help others who may be fighting the same battles. Healing is not a linear process. Some days we feel like we are making progress, while other days we feel like we are back at the beginning. It is important to be patient with ourselves. We do not have to have it all figured out right now. We do not have to heal overnight. What matters is that we keep going, even when it feels difficult. Even when all we do is wake up and take a deep breath. That is still progress. Life is not about never falling. It is about getting back up every single time. No matter what our minds tell us in moments of darkness, we must remember that we are not alone. There is hope. And as long as we keep believing in ourselves, we will find the light again. The people we allow into our lives have a direct impact on our mental and emotional well-being. Sometimes we hold on to relationships that drain us because we are afraid of being alone. We tolerate toxic environments, thinking that we have no other choice. But the truth is, we do have a choice. We have the power to decide who gets access to our energy and who does not. The people who constantly belittle us, make us question our worth, and bring negativity into our lives do not deserve a permanent place in our hearts. Letting go of unhealthy relationships is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of self-respect. We must surround ourselves with those who remind us of our strength, who encourage our growth, and who stand by us even when we struggle to stand on our own. The right people will never make us feel unworthy or unimportant. They will remind us that we are valued, loved, and capable of achieving great things. When life becomes overwhelming, it is easy to slip into patterns of self-doubt and negativity. Our minds become filled with thoughts of failure, rejection, and hopelessness. We start believing that nothing will ever change, that happiness is something meant for others but not for us. But these thoughts are not facts. They are just stories we tell ourselves based on our fears and past experiences. We must train our minds to challenge these negative narratives. Instead of saying, "I am not good enough," we must remind ourselves, "I am doing my best, and that is enough." Instead of saying, "I will never heal," we must remind ourselves, "Healing takes time, and I am moving forward every day." Our inner dialogue shapes our reality, and if we want to build a stronger, healthier mind, we must be mindful of the words we speak to ourselves. Pain is an inevitable part of life, and sometimes it feels like it will never end. We go through losses that shake our foundation, failures that break our confidence, and struggles that test our patience. In those moments, it is easy to feel like giving up. But pain, as difficult as it is, also has the power to transform us. Every struggle we endure makes us stronger. Every challenge we face teaches us something valuable. Instead of seeing pain as something that destroys us, we must learn to see it as something that shapes us into a more resilient version of ourselves. The hardest days of our lives often lead us to the most beautiful transformations. Even in the darkest moments, there is always hope. No matter how broken we feel, we have the strength to rebuild ourselves, to rise from our struggles, and to create a new beginning. Healing is not a destination. It is a journey that requires patience, self-compassion, and faith. There will be days when we feel like we are making progress, and there will be days when we feel like we are falling apart. That is okay. Healing is not about being perfect. It is about taking small steps every day, even when it feels impossible. Some days, progress might look like getting out of bed. Some days, it might look like reaching out for help. And some days, it might simply be allowing ourselves to feel without judgment. Every small step matters. No matter how slow the journey feels, as long as we keep moving forward, we are healing. We must remind ourselves that we are not alone. No matter how isolated we feel in our struggles, there are people who care, people who understand, and people who want to see us overcome our battles. The road to healing is not always easy, but it is always worth it. As long as we keep believing in ourselves and in the possibility of a better tomorrow, we will find our way to peace, happiness, and a life filled with purpose. Pain is an inevitable part of life, but what we do with that pain defines who we become. Many people allow their suffering to consume them, to convince them that they are broken beyond repair. They see pain as the end of the road, a force that takes away their joy, their strength, and their will to move forward. But pain is not the end. It is a turning point. It is a teacher that shapes us, builds us, and prepares us for something greater. No matter how unbearable it feels in the moment, pain always carries a lesson. It forces us to confront our fears, to break through our limitations, and to discover strength we never knew we had. It teaches us resilience, patience, and the ability to rise, even when everything seems to be falling apart. There is a purpose behind every struggle, even if we cannot see it right away. Some of the strongest, most compassionate people are those who have suffered deeply and have used their pain to create something meaningful. The things that once made us feel weak can become the very things that empower us. The hardest battles often lead to the greatest transformations. Pain has the power to break us, but it also has the power to awaken us. It forces us to question our priorities, our values, and the way we have been living. It pushes us to step outside our comfort zones, to seek new perspectives, and to grow in ways we never imagined. Sometimes the pain we go through is not meant to destroy us, but to redirect us towards something better. It is in our lowest moments that we discover what truly matters. We realize the importance of self-care, of meaningful relationships, and of appreciating the present moment. We learn to let go of things that no longer serve us and to embrace the things that bring us peace and fulfillment. Pain is not a punishment, it is an invitation to evolve. It is a reminder that we are still alive, still capable of feeling, and still capable of change. Even in our darkest moments, we have the power to turn our suffering into strength, to transform our wounds into wisdom, and to use our experiences to help others who are walking the same path. No struggle lasts forever. No matter how difficult things seem right now, they will not remain the same. Life is always changing, always moving, and so are we. What feels unbearable today may one day become a distant memory. The storms that seem endless will eventually pass, and we will come out stronger on the other side. The key is to keep going, to hold on even when it feels impossible. Healing does not happen overnight, and it does not happen in a straight line. There will be days when we feel like we are making progress, and there will be days when we feel like we are falling apart again. But every step forward, no matter how small, is still a step toward healing. Growth is not always visible, but that does not mean it is not happening. Even the tiniest efforts, waking up, breathing, choosing to keep moving, are signs of resilience. As long as we keep showing up for ourselves, we are healing. We must remind ourselves that we are not alone in our struggles. There are people who understand, who care, and who want to see us overcome our pain. Even when we feel isolated, we are never truly alone. No matter how many times we fall, we can always rise again. No matter how broken we feel, we can always rebuild. Pain is just one chapter in our story. It is not the whole book. And as long as we choose to keep going, we will find hope, we will find purpose, and we will find the strength to create a life that is beautiful, meaningful, and filled with light. Never stop believing in yourself, no matter how hard life gets. There will be moments when you feel like giving up, when the weight of your struggles feels unbearable, and when nothing seems to be going your way. In those moments, doubt will creep in, telling you that you are not strong enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. But you must remind yourself that these thoughts are not the truth. They are simply fears disguised as reality. You have already survived so much in life. You have faced hardships, disappointments, and challenges, yet you are still here. That alone is proof of your resilience. Every difficult day you have endured has made you stronger, even if you do not realize it yet. You have the power to rise, to grow, and to build the life you deserve. The journey is not easy, but it is worth it. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to healing, happiness, and a future filled with hope. Sometimes the biggest obstacle to believing in yourself is your own mind. The negative thoughts, the fear of failure, and the memories of past mistakes all try to convince you that you are not capable. But your past does not define you. Your failures do not define you. What defines you is how you choose to move forward. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, focus on what you can do right. Instead of replaying your mistakes, remind yourself of everything you have learned. Growth comes from struggle, and progress comes from persistence. No one has it all figured out, and no one gets everything right the first time. The most successful people in the world have failed countless times, But they never let their failures stop them. They used every setback as a lesson, every mistake as a stepping stone. You must do the same. No matter how many times you fall, get back up. No matter how many times you doubt yourself, keep going. Because the only way to truly fail is to stop trying. Believing in yourself also means giving yourself permission to heal at your own pace. There is no timeline for recovery, no deadline for happiness. Healing is a journey that looks different for everyone. Some days you will feel strong, motivated, and hopeful. Other days you might feel like you are back at the beginning, struggling with the same thoughts and emotions you thought you had overcome. That is okay. Progress is not always visible, but that does not mean it is not happening. Even when it feels like you are standing still, you are growing. Every moment you choose to keep fighting, to keep showing up, is a victory. There is no right or wrong way to heal. The important thing is that you do not give up on yourself. You deserve happiness, love, and peace, and you will find them, even if it takes time. No matter what you are going through, no matter how lost or broken you feel, know that you are not alone. There are people who care about you, who believe in you, even when you struggle to believe in yourself. The darkness you feel right now will not last forever. The pain you are experiencing will not define your entire life. There are better days ahead, even if you cannot see them yet. The key is to keep moving forward, even when you feel like you have no strength left. Keep believing that things can get better, because they will. Life is full of unexpected twists and turns, and sometimes the moments that feel like the end are actually the beginning of something beautiful. Trust yourself, trust your journey, and never stop believing that you have the strength to create the life you deserve. Life is not about the absence of struggles, but about how we choose to rise despite them. Mental health is not just about surviving. It is about thriving, about finding peace within ourselves even when the world feels chaotic. It is about acknowledging our pain, embracing our journey, and choosing to move forward with strength and resilience. Healing is not linear, and growth is not instant, but every step we take, no matter how small, brings us closer to a better, brighter future. We must learn to be kind to ourselves, to speak words of encouragement instead of doubt, and to surround ourselves with people who uplift us rather than bring us down. Our struggles do not define us. Our response to them does. We must remember that pain can transform into purpose, that our scars can become symbols of survival, and that even in our darkest moments, there is hope. No matter how lost we feel, no matter how heavy the burden, we are not alone. There are people who care, who understand, and who are willing to stand by us. But the most important person who must believe in us is ourselves. As long as we keep moving forward, as long as we refuse to give up, we will find strength we never knew we had. The journey is not easy, but it is worth it. And no matter how many times we fall, we must always rise again, because our story is not over yet.